Hello, everyone, and welcome to RMD, All Things Aesthetics and Wellness podcast. So I launched Revitalize MD in 2017 with the mission to help patients find solutions to feeling, looking, and functioning better, solutions that traditional medicine just did not have. And I am a traditionally trained MD with a specialty in emergency medicine and worked in the ER for 25 years. And then I began my journey into anti-aging when I realized that I was starting to notice functional changes as I aged. I wasn't the only one. I had colleagues and coworkers and even patients complaining of the same changes. And at the end of all the long workups, it was always the same. Everything looks normal. And so I began my journey into the anti-aging and greater than a decade ago. And I wanted to comprehensively bring solutions to patients feeling and looking and functioning better, because as I began my journey, I realized there's lots of solutions. And so the mission of this podcast is to help educate on those solutions and get the message out to more people. So please share if you like. And then I have my team with me today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Marissa Staten. I've been with Dr. Durst at Revitalize MD for almost 2 years. I'm the medical esthetician, and this is what I love.
Awesome.
I am Meredith Wallace, and I've been with Dr. Durst for about a year now, and I'm a skin specialist there. So, Bella?
I'm Bella. I'm the patient coordinator, and I've been with Dr. Durst for about 2 years.
Today, and these guys are all very familiar, and we talk almost every day on resurfacing, and I don't think that we spend enough time talking about resurfacing. So we're going to talk about what that means and all the different ways that we can do it. So if we think about, our skin, and as we age, we start to get pigment. This is exposure to toxins or sun or, just bad skincare products. And we need to be doing something about every 4 to 6 weeks to really resurface and to keep our skin bright and healthy and help turnover of healthy skin cells. And so if we have fine lines and wrinkles, or I consider them like scratches and dents. Scratch is very superficial. A dent is a little more severe. So as we age, we have more dents and maybe a little bit less in the way of scratches. But if we do something frequently to resurface, then we have less of both of those, and then we have less pigment and pore size is affected. And so we're going to talk about the different ways that we can kind of sand your skin down to get rid of fine lines and wrinkles, scratches and dents, and then help with pigment and pore size. And so if we wanted to start with simple resurfacing techniques and services, what would you say is a very straightforward entry level?
It starts with exfoliation, of course, but we could start from dermaplaning, which is also known as epidermal leveling, going straight into chemical peels, going straight into laser. I'm going to talk about laser because that's my favorite. We've got the Lutronics Ultra, which is a 1927 thulium nanometer laser. It's a wavelength that is safe for all skin types, colors, Fitzpatrick's. That's going to brighten, resurface, help with pore size, tighten the skin, but all on a milder level. Then we also have the Photona resurfacing treatments, which is done with a 2940 wavelength. 2940 nanometer wavelength. That one's going to be, we can go from mild to extremely aggressive with this one, and that one's going to really focus on scars, fine lines, deep lines, smoker lines, crow's feet, furrow lines, anything that you can think of, even stretch mark. That one is my favorite specifically because it is more aggressive, and that's what I like.
Marissa likes to
She likes aggressive.
She loves some people.
But she'll comfort you while she's doing it.
Yes.
Right. And she mentioned the Lutronic a little bit. That's one of my favorites. There's so many things that you can do, and again, it's multifaceted as well. You start your exfoliation, using good skincare products. A lot of people from, years and years and years have used toner and then used exfoliate and then use your good skincare products. And then most people, when they first come in, they'll do dermaplaning or something like that. If they are new to the industry and they're really just starting to work on their skin and trying to notice that the coloring and the brightness, all of those things have started to decline. It really doesn't typically happen until you get at least into your mid to late 20s. But then if you wait until you're in your 30s, it's really kind of setting in. So the earlier you start, the better, because then you start regenerating all of those dead skin cells, getting rid of those, letting new collagen, elastin start promoting all of those things. So Lutronics is going to be a little bit more low key. It's one of those as well that will still work on melasma and things like that. It doesn't actually recognize pigment, so it can still be used for those things. It does sense heat, so we still have to be a little bit cautious, but it doesn't actually see the pigment, whereas the Fotona does recognize that. So it's a little bit more risky. There's less risk, I feel like, involved in the Lutronic. Right, it's the heat that is involved. Everybody, just depending on where you are, what kind of treatments you've done in the past, you can start very, very mild using a really good, deep, strong exfoliation method, and then, work up towards the dermaplaning, consider microneedling, and then work up towards your lasers. Or there's nothing wrong with just coming in and getting a quick micro peel, and then working your way up and doing a stronger and stronger micro peel before you go into any more stronger depth with that. And that does a great job of resurfacing, killing off all those dead skin cells, rebuilding, gives you an instant glow. And again, like Marissa said, you can start very mild, or you can really knock it through the roof and get a really good strong peel where you're going to that outer layer of the skin is going to come off.
That's usually with someone who really needs it for the acne scars, or we've already done the others and we're ready to really go
ready
level.
To get after it, right?
And my favorite type of resurfacing, I am younger, I'm only 21 years old, so I don't necessarily need to do a Fotona 4D yet, but I love the chemical peels and I love microneedling because it's such a broad spectrum. Like, you can do it whenever you're 20s. I've already done both of those, or you can also do it when you're in your later years as well. But I love the chemical peel. There is a bit of downtime with it, but honestly, I didn't find it that painful, and I did the advanced corrective. Maybe I just have thick skin, but I really loved it because since I am younger, I did have some hormonal acne, and it just helped me get rid of some of my redness and some of my acne scars from whenever I was younger. And then also, I love microneedling. I will suggest that to anyone. I didn't find it painful at all. We do topical numbing, and so what it does is has those microchannels, and so you're basically injuring yourself to have your skin repair itself. And I think it's beautiful on even younger skin and older skin. And it's just, honestly, working with Dr. Durst and being under her, I've learned that you do need to take care of your skin while you're 20. So that way, it's not like you have to, when you're 50s and 60s, let me buy like 6 things of retinol to repair all the damage that I didn't take care of when I was younger. So,
yeah, and with the peels, just to add on to what she said, you don't have to do an advanced corrective by any means. You can start, very, very low and work your way up. Start with what we call the red carpet, which is very mild, no downtime. You can go to a major event that same night and have an extra glow to your skin without having to add tons of bronzer and illuminating products and things, because it'll already be there. So those are really, really pretty for younger skin too, that just need a little bit of a quick boost. Very quick, very easy, no peeling, any of that. So
great pre-event, mild peel, like she's talking about the red carpet. But again, I knew Bella would talk to us a little bit about chemical peels, because that is like a good way to not spend a lot of money. Likewise, and if you're younger and you just want to do that resurfacing and prevent, and you're not actually treating some fine lines and wrinkles that have already developed. But it's not the wrong thing to do in a combination treatment with older skin types as well, because again, I think you should be doing something to your skin every 4 to 6 weeks, whether it be microneedling, peel, a mild peel. And again, the Lays MD does a huge spectrum. So you can do a mild with little downtime, and you still don't have downtime, but you can get a more intense peel. And then again, Marissa's favorite, you can get also still a very mild, but I almost feel like, you should go with something a little more intense with the Fotona because it does do such a good job of intensely hitting those deep lines and wrinkles, and so you can get a lot of downtime if you want to. Essentially, there's multiple hand pieces, and you can go from very mild to even deep on the one hand piece, but then you have 2 more hand pieces, so you can take it a lot more.
I can do a mild resurfacing all over and then change the settings and go all over the eyes. I can change and the lips, and I can change the settings again, and and maybe even the handpiece. And in a very fine diameter, I can actually go into the lines themselves to jumpstart those, resurface them individually. And I have another handpiece I can do more fractionated over, say, the crow's feet or smoker's lines or acne scars in certain areas, and get it all in one, but in a combination type of treatment to do what that person individually needs.
So basically, we know the Lutronic isn't going to give you downtime. Maybe a little redness that night, but even if we go deeper, for the most part, you're not going to have downtime. You'll have some sandpaper, but you're not going to have downtime. You have a peel, the more intense peel, we're going to let you know. But even sometimes with a more mild peel, you may potentially, not a red carpet, but something else. That's why if it's pre-event, we're always going with a red carpet because we know you'll be fine.
A little bit of flaking with anything else, probably, at least.
It's not if it's the day of the event, just the red carpet peel. If it's a day or 2 before the event, and you've done this before, or you've done this before, dermaplaning, red carpet. If it's the day of and you've done these things before, you can do the dermaplaning and the red carpet. But the next step, Lutronics. Next step, maybe going up on the Lutronics or jumping right over into the Fotona resurfacing, and then so forth. Or we can do microneedling in between, and something every 4 to 6 weeks.
And it really just depends on what your desired results are and your allotted downtime, because we'll have those conversations with you. But when we're going deeper, stronger, more energy, there will be some downtime. And so we like you to be prepared. Again, that downtime means better results, with one treatment versus no downtime with many treatments. And so that's, the big difference with that is you can do a real aggressive one time. It's not like that's the only time you need it, but you're going to have more downtime, or you can do multiple ones that kind of equal that, but it's a series of it. So
and as long as you're doing something, you don't have to go in that order. You could always, do a very strong Fotona, and then 6 weeks later do a low grade chemical peel, and then the next time do a Lutronic, and you can flip back and forth depending on your time frame, depending on what's going on with you. Yeah, depending on the season. If you got a special event, it doesn't. There's no perfect order or perfect transition. Everybody's going to be very different. So
correct.
We can cater to that.
So a couple things, before we end then is PRP. It's a great add-on to a lot of these, especially if you're talking about the microneedling or the Lutronic. Anytime we have any micro channels, adding PRP onto that is good. There's other products that we can do as an add-on to the treatment that penetrates deeper, but even your product will penetrate deeper after. And then likewise, skincare products, and there's some that we can recommend where you can do some micro peels at home. But again, if you do a consultation, we'll kind of take a look at what your goals are, what your downtime is, what your price point is, and age. I mean, age and skin age is a big point, and we can recommend series of things that fit for you and get you started. But again, getting that great skin again, right? And anything else we might want to add before? Just brightening and...
I definitely forgot Morpheus. It's like microneedling, but you're getting that step within. Marissa, do you want to talk about the terminology a little bit?
I feel like Morpheus, we could do a whole other session on.
You can never forget about the Morpheus.
You can't forget about that one. It's microneedling with bipolar radio frequency, so it's also resurfacing. Anything that the others do, it does with microneedling at the same time, so a little different. But it's amazing for fine lines and wrinkles, scars, It also can kill fat if we need to do that. Say the submental area of the jowls. It works fantastic for scars and pore size.
And the other thing that Morpheus does that the others that we've mentioned do not do, at least in those treatments, Fotona does do it, but not, and Lutronic some, but not to that degree, is lifting. So you're getting some lifting when you're doing microneedling and you're driving energy into the skin, which is what you're doing with radiofrequency microneedling. Mm-hmm. So you're also going to get some lifting with that. And again, Fotona, that's just our resurfacing aspect of Fotona. It does a 4D facelift where we can also get a lift. That's a whole nother service. So, but I'm glad you brought that up. So again, another thing you can add PRP on to just, stimulate all that collagen elastin. So what we're talked about today was resurfacing. If you have any other questions about resurfacing or anything you want us to address, please either text or call the business line, or you can put a comment or question in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, and let us know anything else you want to talk about, because we're willing to dive deep into all things aesthetics, wellness, and sexual wellness. Thank you for joining.